Okay, boxing fans, I'm going to do a quick post-fight video for Dereck Chisora versus Malik Scott. Dereck Chisora winning by 6-round KO. Quickly, 99% of the people I talked to in the weeks building up to this said that Dereck Chisora was going to get exposed and whitewashed by Malik Scott on the scorecards. Even a few people said he was going to get knocked out. Yeah, Malik Scott even said he was going to knock out Dereck Chisora. Now my prediction was Dereck was going to win via points decision, while the other two guys said on the video said that Dereck Chisora was going to stop him in round 7 and round 8. None of us picked Malik Scott. And when I looked at a lot of people who were writing and making videos and stuff, most people, I'd say, like I said, 99% of people said that Malik Scott was going to win. And basically everyone got this one wrong, and I wonder why. I'm going to tell you why. There's 3 reasons I can think of off the top of my head. The first one is people picked Malik Scott off his record alone. Unbeaten American with 35 wins. You know, did anyone actually look into his record and actually watch any of his fights, do some research? I don't think so, because in that 35 fights he's basically won. You know, he's not had a big fight. His best victory was Bowie Tapu, and if that's your best fight, that's basically fuck all. Bowie Tapu is basically an Aussie rugby player who's turned professional boxer, which says it all. You know, not many people who spend half their life doing one sport and then change to another sport in the twilight years of their athletic career can really make it so that high in that sport. Really, it's just not. It doesn't really happen. Same point. You know, Malik's he's never been 12 rounds. He's never been 12 rounds in 35 fights. He's only been 10 rounds 3 times in 35 fights. Now, why is that? If you look in any other division at a guy with 35 fights, you know, at least you know, 20 of them will be 12-round fights. At least 20 will be 12-round fights. You know, if you look in any division and you look at anyone in the top 10, anyone with 35 wins are either a multi-weight world champion, a world champion, or a total hype job. And I think Malik fits into the 3rd category there. The second thing is, people looked way too far into the Glasgow draw. You know, I actually thought that was a close fight. If you score that fight and you look to give rounds to Glasgow, you can do it, especially in the second half of the fight, because Malik Scott has stamina issues. They were definitely on show in the second half of the fight, where his punch output significantly dropped from the first 4 rounds. He looked great in the first 4 rounds. His movement, his jab, you know, it doesn't really work well off the jab, but especially the first 2 points, the movement and jab were brilliant in the first 4 rounds, giving him a good 4-round head start at least. But then second half of the fight, once he got well into it, he let Glasgow back into it for me. There were a load of doubtful rounds that could have went either way. People gave it to Malik on movement alone, which is not really a scoring category if you read the rules, so I can understand how the judges gave them to Glasgow. Even if you don't disagree, it could have happened, and that's one of the points that I wanted to make. The second point inside number 2 is that Glasgow is only a 14-fight novice professional. You know, up until then, had only been the 10-round distance once against a guy who has 35 wins. You would expect the guy with 35 wins to be much better in the stamina department, in every department, and that wasn't the case that night, especially in the stamina department. The third point is, you know, people totally shrugged off these stamina issues. Once again, I made that point in round 2, but I'm going to underline it here. You know, this is a guy who is a smoker. I don't know if you guys smoke, but if you do smoke, you'll know that if you try and run around or do any athletic, you know, training while you're smoking, or even if you're not now a smoker, you know, it's like a stab wound to the chest every single cigar that you're going to take. And when you're Malik Scott, who does smoke cigars, and I think even smokes them in training, you know, his lungs are going to be pushed to the limit by a guy like Chisora, and that was the case on the night. You know, via round 4 he was totally gassed. He was done for the night in round 4. He came out in round 5 and threw the kitchen sink at Chisora to no avail. Anyway, let's move on to the actual fight. It was actually quite an evenly matched fight, and the way I saw it was Chisora took round 1, he bullied him around a bit. Malik took round 2 and 3, he showed good jab and good movement and worked off it quite well actually, for the first time I've seen it. He's shown also that he has no inside game. Malik Scott, absolutely zero inside game. He just wants to hold, and that's it, he just wants to hold. Chisora didn't allow him to do that. Round 4 was probably the best round for Chisora. He worked the body very well. Malik was really gassed in that round. He took a lot of damage to the body, which slowed him down. He was getting lied on, pushed around, bullied around. At that point the ranking was pretty much on the wall. Malik Scott came out and he gave a big effort in round 5, which unfortunately for him I think was the icing on the cake for Chisora, because he pretty much blew himself out inside round 5. He threw the kitchen sink at Chisora. He threw a lot of good punches, landed a lot of good punches, but he just could not hurt Chisora. Chisora kept coming forward, and even though Malik won the battle in terms of the round, he pretty much co-signed himself losing the war, because in round 6 once again he looked gassed again. The movement wasn't there. He took a lot of damage to the body. The knockout punch came from a body shot and then an overhand right, which wasn't even a scoring punch really, it was a scuffed punch, and then he went down. And then right then, that was when the smartest thing that Malik Scott done. I mean, this shows how smart Malik Scott is. What he done was he knew that people already have preconceptions about referees from here, there and everywhere, and we all have it all over the world. I don't reckon you can go to Germany and get a a scorecard decision. You can't go to America and get it either, depending on who's fighting. Certain things like that always play on people's minds, and Malik said, I'll wait until 9. He basically he was smiling, looking at the ref, I'm going to wait, and he used the referee as a scapegoat. He got up at 9, about 9:30, didn't have his hands in place to get ready to go, barely got up in time. I don't know if some people say he got up in time, some people say he don't. If some people say he didn't and some people say he did, it's controversial. You can't really argue either way. He knew what he was doing. People are basically going to say that it was the UK referee's fault. People can play on that, it doesn't matter. Malik knew what he's doing. In the biggest fight of his life, he was looking for the way out of the fight. That says a lot about Malik Scott and his 35 win record. And basically 99% of the people who picked him really, because they quite clearly didn't do their research on why he was going to lose this fight, whereas I did. But anyway, if you disagree with that, that's totally fine. That is quite totally fine. Everyone has their opinion, but if you want to answer a question for me, tell me why you didn't get up via rate. Why you just take the 8 count and get up? And the answer is because he knew what he was doing, because he wasn't hurt. He knew what he was doing, he just wanted out. He was gassed, wanted out.